Well, Happy New Year, Calculator.
Greetings and salutations, Mr. 411. In those wonderful words coming out, our debut show, getting pumped up, getting people ready. Hey, as soon as August hits, that's when yours truly and Mr. 411 really start hitting the ground running because we're getting our notes, and then we always talk about how we're capitalists. We like to share as much information to the people so that they can do what they like to do, bring in we want the economy to get bigger and bigger. The only way we can do that is if we make some money, and a lot of times fantasy football information, we arm you with the information so you can do good in your leagues and win, possibly. If it hey, if it's just a handshake league, sometimes bragging rights are better than anything else, but for the most part, a lot of our listeners do like to pay for the play for a little something on the line other than the handshake. So that's what we're here for. We're here to help you with your league.
Exactly. And also crossing the lines, that's coming out soon too. So
Oh
make sure
yeah,
you all stay tuned for that. That's why you
absolutely.
have to hit that like button, the subscribe, notification bell, and share because sharing is caring. You need to follow us on 411, as you can see on this
Yeah.
pullover right here. 411, as you can see on calculator shirt there,
Yeah.
411. Sports World Network on YouTube. Make sure you follow us there. Make sure you follow us on TikTok. That's Mr. 411, MisterForone, Mr. 411. That's on TikTok. And also on Instagram, the same way, Mr. 411. Make sure you follow us on all those platforms. Today is August the 5th, 2024. As you said, calculator, man, this is our time of year now. We're back. We took a couple months off and we're back at it again. Today we will discuss obviously fantasy football because this is the 401 Sports for Fantasy Football Show on Mondays, and we're going to give you our top 10 in the quarterback category. We're also going to provide you with news and notes. We have a special guest in the studio, already in the studio, already ready to jump on. Can't wait. He's chomping at the bit to get out here and say a few things. So our special guest will be on, and then it's mock draft Monday,
Yes,
and
sir.
we will do our mock draft, and that's always fun, and can't wait for that.
What we
Well,
like to do, Mr. 401, is the reason we do a mock draft. People say, why we do a mock draft? We like to take the information that we go over and apply it to a mock draft. So we don't just want to give you information. We want to see how that information can actually work out in a draft. So that's why we like to always give you information first and then see how we can apply it to a draft.
oh yeah, absolutely, yes, and we're gonna do it. All right, and
Yep.
so calculate. Also, man, we gotta thank Surge TV, the simulcast. So we are on Surge TV, the Northeast based network. That they heard so much of the calculator that they were like, Mr. 401, you have to you have to join in and connect with us and do a simulcast. So yes, we are on the 401 Sports World Network on YouTube. We're also on Surge TV on YouTube as well at the same time. There's a rapper that used to say at the same damn time, at the same damn time.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna
Yeah.
say the other stuff he said
Yeah,
in between that.
yeah.
Okay.
We were still monitored by the FCC. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right. I say that for the after dark
there you
version of the
special.
show. All right, calculator, let's get to it. Get these credits rolling.
And we're back, Mr. 411 debut. Loving it, Mr. 411, because that means I can taste the drafts that are about to start up for everybody.
Man, calculate how many leagues are you in before we get this party started?
Well, I talk about handshake leagues and I talk about money leagues, but when the money is on the line, I've been able to part down to 13 this year. So I think 13 is going to be my lucky number this year. I was a little underweighted last year, but I decided to, kick it up a notch because it was just I say it wasn't enough, but it wasn't enough. So now I'm actually trying to, the more and more as best ball is now coming to the forefront, you can get a lot of information when you do best ball leagues. It's a totally different strategy than your home league, but it gets you set for ADP. It gets you set for names. Just there's all these people moving around, new faces, new places, and so that's why I like to get the best ball early on to get some preliminary information, and then like I said, when August hits, that's when I take all the stuff from my best ball playing, my best ball strategies. I do have to, like I said, you have to tweak it a little because it's totally different from best ball to regular. But again, it's a great platform to dive into regular leagues in August. But yes, my August leagues, the ones I pay attention, I'm up to 13. I'm going to stay at that number. Now, if I get any more of the handshake leagues that I like to talk about, where bragging rights, I do a couple of those on the side, just because it's with some friends that I've been with for years, and sometimes their family. So they like to include the calculator, just and that's the good thing about being in one place for a long time. You get a lot of lifelong friends, so you're able to keep in contact with those, but yeah, when the money's on the line, I'm at 13 right now, and I think the calculator is going to stay at that.
Yes, sir. All right. Let's get into the news and notes calculator. Off season is now we're into the training camps and preseason is
Yeah.
already upon us. So what's going on in the NFL?
Man, and I said already, news and notes. A lot of times, news and notes are injuries. Rams, Puka Nakua suffered a knee injury at practice on Sunday. It is not considered very serious. They say week to week, but I've always said week to week is 7 times worse than day to day. So that's why you kind of get the little ears up. But the bottom line is, sources told Adam Schefter it's not serious. So this could actually boost up Cooper Cup's draft status. As of now, Cooper Cup is kind of in the mid rounds, third rounds. Puka Nakua has been going in the first round of a lot of drafts early on because he set a rookie record in receiving, and we're talking about rookies: Justin Jefferson, Anquan Bolden, some really good rookies. Puka Nakua set the record for rookie receivers, so a lot of expectations on Puka Nakua. But yes, he did tweak the knee, but again, not serious. Jordan Addison charged with a misdemeanor DUI. What does that mean? He's had 2 misdemeanors on this July 12th arrest. He could face up to a 3-game suspension. If convicted or pleads guilty, he could face up to 6 months in jail, pay a fine of $2,000, lose his driver's license up to 6 months. Again, when we talk about how does this affect us? It could affect if you reach up in the 6th, 7th round of Jordan Addison, you might have a 3-game suspension. So you might his ADP has cooled off a little since he got that misdemeanor. DeAndre Hopkins, 4 week. He is out for 4 weeks. He will not need. He injured his knee last week. Does not need surgery, so that's the good news. 4 weeks is likely, but that means if it's 4 weeks, he will be ready for week 1 for the Titans. So again, you got to keep an eye on that. A lot of these guys we will talk about in our wide receiver portion when we do our wide receiver review in a couple weeks. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson has made significant progress on the mental side, including communication, checking out the line. So in other words, rave reviews for Anthony Richardson, and we will touch more on him in our quarterback preview shortly. Raiders are looking to deploy 2 tight ends often. Hey, they drafted a tight end fairly early. What a lot of people said was the top tight end in last year's draft, and Michael Mayer is now they drafted the stud tight end this year and Brock Bowers. So hey, if you got 2 of the best at your position, makes sense. You're going to deploy them more often. But hey, we'll talk about that more when we cover tight ends in a few weeks ahead. Oh, and word on the street out of the Giants camp. The Athletic Dan Dugan has noted that Giants wide receiver Jalen Hyatt, Mr. The speedster they drafted last year, he's actually getting more reps with the starters than Darius Slayton in camp. So more, let's keep an eye on that. With that news, Jalen Hyatt, who was going late in drafts, could be shooting up the board if he gets a starting slot next to Malik Neighbors, their high-priced rookie that they got. And one more thing for people, I'm bringing up a name from back in the day, Danny Woodhead. Yes, Danny Woodhead makes the
Wow.
podcast. Where I
Okay.
say, Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni sees some Danny Woodhead in rookie running back Will Shipley. If people wonder, hey, how does that make sense? Sirianni was with Woodhead in the Chargers from 2013 to 2014. Folks, Danny Woodhead averaged 6.4 carries and 5.5 catches per game across 4 seasons. Those catches go, hey, you want to talk about a guy that was monumental and keeping people afloat during bye weeks? It was people that owned Danny Woodhead. So, yes, I would not dismiss that. Will Shipley is going largely undrafted in home leagues right now. He is being drafted a lot at the end of drafts in best ball, but for normal leagues, home leagues, I've been looking at ADPs. He's being undrafted. So keep that name on your radar. He might get a little. We might get another Will Shipley as our things go on. But for now, that's the news and notes for our debut show.
Wow, Calculator. Great job there, man. Great job. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, the crowd's far too kind there. All right.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
Calculator. We're gonna take a short break and we're gonna come back on the other side and jump in there with the top 10. So hang in there and take a look at this commercial, Calculator.
Is it time for massage? Of course. Come on out to the best of the best day spa in Miller, Georgia. Heavenly Spa Mobile is located at 2484 Ingleside Avenue, Building A, Suite 101A. You may go online to heavenlyspamobile.com to see my availability and schedule your future appointment online. Don't wait too late. You might miss out. Look forward to seeing you soon. Happy pampering.
Tried and true Heavenly Spa. Hey, ain't nothing to get you more relaxed after a hard day of research, right, Mr. 41, than a nice
Actually,
massage from Heavenly Spa Mobile.
oh, absolutely, man. I mean, after watching a whole bunch of football, man, you'll be wore out, man. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? All that research, all that watching football, getting the stats together.
Yeah.
Why not check out Heavenly Spa Mobile at 2484 Ingleside Avenue, Building A, Suite 101-A, Macon, Georgia, 31204. Latanya can be reached at 4787 479231. That's 4787 479231. Heavenly Spa Mobile, where what, Calculator?
Relaxation is key.
It is key.
Yeah.
It is the key.
Yeah, the key. That's right.
And you know what else is the key, Calculator? And that is getting your draft board together.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, you have to rank, these
Yes.
these the players. You have to rank them by position. You have to figure out the tiers, things like that. So you got to get all your research together, and that's what this next segment is about. It's about getting the top 10. And today we're going to discuss the quarterback position. And so let's get into that, Calculator. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, what?
Oh,
I can't believe Domino's is still delivering during our show, Mr. 411. What's up with that?
you know what? I stopped eating Domino's now. I'm trying to get on the Marcos now.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Hey, hopefully there'll be a
yeah.
new sponsor, Mr. 411.
I hope so. One thing I like about Marcos is that it's really good right when you order it, right when you get it out of the
Yeah,
box right then.
yeah.
Uh, but anyway, man, let me get the door, okay? Let me
Okay.
get the door and see who's over there at the door. Cause they would just won't stop ringing the
Yeah.
bell.
There
All
he
right, is LT
is. For the
What's up,
regular.
everyone? How's it going?
going on?
That's right. Regular listeners of the show, the champ has wanted to join us on the debut show. He's going to give us some of the things he likes about the list, doesn't like about the list. Quarterbacks, we like to have a champion on the show to give us his opinion, offer his opinion on the rankings that me and Mr. 41 put out.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Absolutely.
he is and you are what, LT? What are you? What are you?
Reigning, defending champ.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
is.
yeah.
He is.
People don't know it was a knockout drag out for me and LT in the title game. He was victorious. He made Christmas a little more miserable for yours truly. That's why I said, Mr. Foreman, we got to change. We cannot have championship games on Christmas anymore because we want to be happy, we want to be jolly. But you can't really concentrate on that if you got 3 games going on. And LT had the San Francisco stack going on me that this past Christmas. So yeah, But hey, Mr. Froman, we'll talk about that at one of our production meetings on how to avoid that in the future.
Yeah. All right. Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll see what happens there. All right. Let's get into this top 10 calculator.
Oh, hey, and for people, so what we're going to do on, we're going to just kind of break down the bigger discrepancies. You're going to have the same top 3 that you normally have. You know, you're just like last year. Last year it was Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Those were your top 3, and they were drafted higher in a lot of positions last year compared, according to what I'm seeing this year. You know, so but Mr. 401, he has Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes in that. Me and Mr. Rome both believe Josh Allen's number 2. I actually have Mahomes ahead of Jalen Hurts. So I'm just going to pass this to Mr. 401. Why do you have Jalen Hurts? Tell him what you like about Jalen Hurts that makes him number 1 on your quarterback listing.
Well, what I like about Jalen Hurts is that, one, I like the division that he's in. He is in the NFC East, and also, he uh, with the running game, right? The bonus points that you get with him running and all those rushing touchdowns. And what do they call that in Philadelphia? Where they sneak it in? What is
Tush
it? What is that
push.
called? The
That's
tush
right.
push.
Yes.
I like those cheap touchdowns there when they get close to the goal line. And so, even though he may not be the most prolific thrower, I think that the system that they play in is then he can sneak in 70 and sometimes 100 yards rushing. So really what I'm saying with Hurts is in any given Sunday he can give you that explosive game. And so I just want to lean more on Hurts at this point.
Mhm.
Nothing against Patrick Mahomes because he's one of the best to do it. Um, and we'll see. I mean, we don't have the full answers yet, but
Yeah,
based on what Patrick has done in the past, he does
yeah. I mean,
he beats you with a short pass. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to go with
exactly.
that extra explosion there with Hurts.
And I see, you're not saying Patrick Mahomes is bad. I mean, he's still your 3rd
Not at
ranked
all. Well,
quarterback.
no way.
Yeah, I mean, so that we want to say that you just prefer the running. Now, my flip side is the reason I had Patrick Mahomes number 1 is I think Patrick Mahomes is going back to his roots, and Andy Reid's going back to the roots of was back in Tyreek Hill days. And you might say, why is that? What was so different this year? They got good, solid, fast receivers. They drafted one of the fastest receivers to come out in the past 5 years in Xavier Worthy out of Texas. People who watch
Yeah.
college football, and hey, we do CTL on the show. Yours truly watch a lot of Texas Longhorn football games. Okay, Xavier Worthy is the real deal because not only can he run, hey, he's not the guy that can just run downfield like remember old Dwight Stone hands back in the day. He called Stone hands because he was the fast guy on the field, but he couldn't come down with the pass. Well, this guy will come down with the pass and beat you. Okay, what's another? Hey, they Hollywood Brown. Man, Hollywood Brown. Hey, yes, yeah, you could say Hollywood Brown stink last year. He was miscast. He didn't have Kyler Murray all year. He was hurt for the beginning of the year. But Hollywood Brown, hey, if you saw what a healthy Hollywood Brown did with Lamar Jackson, just imagine what he could do as a secondary receiver with Patrick Mahomes. So what is all that's going to do? Well, guess what? That's going to help Kelsey. That's going to elevate Kelsey. And I think Kelsey is going to outperform this year because he's going to be able to. You're talking about short passing game. They had to rely on the short passing game last year because they did not. MVS was not the deal. We call Hardman. I love him, but he was still kind of they didn't get him till the middle of the year. So Hardman's going to be back. Hey, I'm telling you, folks, they got the deep passing game. Mahomes is going to go back to his Tyreek Hill days, and that's why I like Patrick Mahomes. That's why he's top of my list. Jalen Hurts, again, I'm not saying he's bad. I have him number 3 because the thing we talked about the tush push. one of the big components of tush push, folks, was Jason Kelsey, the center, one of the best centers to ever play the game. He is a reason that had like a 98% convert rate. If you have one of the best centers to ever play the game, you're going to have a good thing ground up the middle. They're breaking in a new center. Kelsey's retired. That's the thing that I kind of think it's going to take away. They're going to say, hey, yeah, we got the tush push, but it might not be successful. But hey, I got a guy named Saquon Barkley that's a pretty good running back now. He's a pretty good option. I can, lay it on. So I think Barkley's actually going to take away some from Jalen Hurts. So that's one of the reasons I have Jalen Hurts behind Patrick Mahomes. What about you, LT? We'll throw it to you. If you're on the clock, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Josh Allen, you have Jalen Hurts. Who are you taking out of those top three?
Josh Allen, basically on his running, hit the yards that he put up per game was awesome last year. I mean, if you add those rushing, he's almost like another running back in your lineup.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a quarterback and a running back in your lineup. Jalen Hurts played well for me last year. I had him on my team, and he did great at times. But I would still go with Josh Allen simply based on the rushing yards and the rushing touchdowns. As an added bonus.
Yeah, and that's it. And people might say, well, Josh Allen lost a lot of weapons in Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis, but I can come back and counter that saying, well, that means he's going to run more because he don't have those weapons to throw to. So if you're now a flip side is he could get hurt running more, but if you're a guy, but that's why I have Josh Allen still number two. I like I said, I just like the Patrick Mahomes weapons a little bit more, and Patrick Mahomes can run too. But yeah, LT is good. Hey, I have no qualms with taking Josh Allen. And for the folks at home, folks, the top three in ADP, Josh Allen's going off the board. Patrick Mahomes has now taken over Jalen Hurts as the number two quarterback taken off the board. And then, Jalen Hurts is bringing up the rear. But they are drafted in bunches. Josh Allen is going late third, early fourth round. Patrick Mahomes is a couple times packs after him, and then Jalen Hurts a couple rounds. So if you're going to get one of those three, you got to do it in the fourth round. They're not going to be there. A lot of times they're not going to be building in the fifth round. So if you want one of those top three, that's the round you got looking at. You got to look for. Last year they were in the third round. So this year you're getting a little bit of a discount, but again, you can't go wrong with any of them because they all have upsides. It's just going to be your preference. If you want one of the top three, you got to get them in the fourth round. Yo, you're on mute. Oh yeah.
Like you said, all three of them are tough, and if you end up with any one of those three, you're in great shape.
Okay, and if you want to bring up if you can get the producer to bring up the list, a guy we're going to touch on right now is Lamar Jackson, and as you can see, that's one of the biggest divides that me and Mr. 411, that and Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
but we're going to talk about Lamar Jackson for now. Mr. 411, you have him as your number 4 guy. I have him down all the way number 10, and I'll explain my reasoning for number 10, but I want to hear 411 his reasoning on having him at number 4. Do you still think he's going to have that elite rushing ability that he's been bringing in the past few years?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I didn't see a significant drop off on his athleticism from last season, and I think it's going to be a lesson learned. And this is more of a reality versus the fantasy part of it. He's at the stage of his career now where it's about that time where he's got to deliver. Like, and we're talking about championship. We're talking about world championship. And last season, I believe in the playoffs, he didn't run enough. I think he spent too much time on the field trying to prove himself as a passer. And he should have just been Lamar Jackson at that point, which is, there's nothing wrong with it. You run better than you throw, in my opinion. And I think he should have used his legs a lot more. I'm anticipating him doing whatever he has to do week in and week out to stack up W's, to get home field advantage in the postseason, and to get to the Super Bowl. I am not a Ravens fan, but I'm just talking about it from that perspective of things. He needs to deliver because, as y'all know, I'm a Seahawks fan.
Wait, yeah. Well, now, Mr. 411, I'm going to push back on that because they racked up a lot of wins last year based on their new offense. And when I mean new offense, we're talking about Todd Monken, the play calling. The reason Lamar Jackson did not run as much is because Todd Monken was installing a new offense, and if people follow him, very successful with spread offenses, and that's what he was trying, and that's why I bumped him down to number 10. Bumped him down to 10 because of the Todd Monken offense. He's going to, hey, he's got more weapons, so he's going to get more passing, but hey, the meat of your bonuses. If I'm going to get a passing quarterback, I'm going to want a Joe Burrow. If I got a passing quarterback, I'm going to CJ Stroud. If I want to pass a quarterback, I'm going to get one of those guys. Lamar Jackson, yeah, he can run, but is Tom Monken going to let him run? No. Hey, if Greg Roman was offensive coordinator still, Lamar Jackson would be top 5 because hey, Greg Roman's going to run you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I didn't like the offense as far as a fantasy perspective is concerned for the Todd Monken offense. So I'm pulling the Lamar Jackson reins back on my expectations for that. And you want to talk about running when they get to the goal line? Well, all they got is a guy named Derrick Henry back there. And if you have Derrick Henry gobbling up those small touchdowns or those short arcs, that's another thing that's taken away from Lamar Jackson. So that and that's what really hurt Lamar Jackson, because what happened last year, Mr. 4-1, when they did the Gus Bus. Gus Bus he did the Jerome Bettis impersonation where he comes in for 5 carries a game and comes that way with 3 touchdowns. That's what was happening in every game. So I don't think they're going to go away from that. So that's why I'm not Lamar Jackson, because of my ranking. I can guarantee you he will not be probably on any of my teams, which is fine. I mean, I just because of my expectation. Hey, if he goes, fall to me. But see, I just have so many people I would draft ahead of him, and that's why I don't draft Lamar Jackson, is because I like guys ahead of him that I know I can get later. So I'm going to let perception trump reality in this instance and let other people take Lamar Jackson. What about you, LT? Do you have a feeling on Lamar Jackson?
I kind of feel like you do with Derrick Henry back there. He is probably going to actually cut down on his running. But there are still, like you said, there are quarterbacks in that area drafting right there where Lamar Jackson is that I would rather have. I would rather have your Joe Burrow, your Anthony Richardson, and they're all right there in that same tier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if I'm on the clock, believe it or not, and we'll talk about this because Mr. 4-1 for some reason, I don't know where he got it, but you got Kyler Murray. I mean, Kyler Murray is my number 5 guy, and Mr. 4-1's disrespecting Kyler Murray. Mr. 4-1, he's been studying the playbook. He's been doing the extra work. He's got one of the top receivers to come out of the draft in the past 6 years, and Marvin Harrison Jr. He's got a young stud tight end in McBride. I mean, the guy's got weapons. He's got a Trey Benson, one of the top pass-catching running backs from one of the college football teams I follow in Florida State. The guy I like Kyler Murray. This is why I like Kyler Murray. I like Kyler Murray because he can run. We know he can run. And now he's got weapons. And they've been built in the offensive line for the past 2 years. Got one of the top left tackles last year out of the draft. He's got another year under his belt, protecting the blind side. I'm sorry, Kyler Murray was on pace. He was one of the top point-producing quarterbacks when he was healthy. So he's got another year removed from that ACL. So I really like Kyler Murray. And you see, I have Stroud, Burrow, Purdy. Those are my pocket passers. So Kyler Murray, I got a guy that can pass for pass with those guys, but he's going to give me that extra on the running. Now, as you can see, me and Mr. 4-1, we both love Anthony Richardson just because before he got hurt, he was the highest point producing. He was higher than McCaffrey. He was higher than any other quarterback. He was the top producing fantasy football player per game last year. Granted, small sample size because he got hurt, but I don't see anything changing. Anthony Richardson, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that kind of reminds me of Cam Newton back in his prime. You know, just a big guy. You cannot stop a guy that big on the goal line. Now, you can say, well, why isn't he top? But because we have such a small sample size, and Jonathan Taylor back is healthy. Because if people remember, when Anthony Richardson started out, Jonathan Taylor was out. So, we don't know. We don't have a big sample size of Anthony Richardson with a healthy full to go Jonathan Taylor. That could take away some of his rushing upside. But hey, he looks like he's full to go. We saw when he's healthy. He has a nice receiver set in Michael Pittman on the outside to take away some of the pressure. So I really like Anthony Richardson. I mean, granted, I have him number 4, and Mr. 4-1. Do you have any word? Oh, you have Anthony Richardson number 5, so you're pretty high on Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on him. Remember, I took I guess you can call it a flyer last year on him as a rookie. He was actually my second quarterback that was in the former sports league draft. For me, and I ended up starting him. But the issue that I have with him is that last season, and it's a risk reward with a quarterback that plays the way he does, and especially as a rookie, he hasn't been hit by the NFL players yet, and he was knocked out a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my only concern with him.
And that's why he's not higher on our list.
Is he going to learn how to get down when he needs to get down? Is he going to learn that? Or is he going to let that youth and indivisibility feel like, I cannot get hurt. I'm so young and athletic. Will that be his doom? But outside of that, it's one of those high risk, high reward draft picks for me.
Yeah, and Mr. Foreman, we said in our news and notes, what is he improving on most right now? The mental part of the game. The coaches are drilling that in. It's like, hey, these guys aren't laying off. You're not going against, even though he went up against SEC competition, which is the best of the best in college football, these guys are still bigger, faster, stronger than you were in college. So yeah, they were. Hey, to the champ, LT, do you have any thoughts on Anthony Richardson?
I do like Anthony Richardson, but the 2 games that he did play, he put up 20 fantasy points and he put up 29 fantasy points. At 29 fantasy points, that still made him the wide receiver too. But we have just such a small sample size that, just like Mr. 411 says, once you get in those trenches and they hit you a few times, reality sets in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the coaches know that too, because I think with the Colts trading Gardner Minshew, they don't have the safety net anymore. So they're going to say, okay, we got it, taking the training wheels off, but we got to protect our quarterback because we can't go back to Gardner Minshew. But hey, Mr. 4-1, I want to go to this question that you posted. He said, this guy's asking, and first of all, Carter, we appreciate you tuning in, but he says, would y'all trade ETN for a next year's second for Kyler and Dynasty Superflex? The key is Superflex, folks. If I can have Kyler Murray, a young quarterback, in a Superflex league, and I truly think ETN value, running back, shelf lives in dynasties, folks. Dynasties, you and Superflex, you want one of those quarterbacks to be one of your top picks because they're going to last time and time again, and you can rotate these running backs over and over and over. So yes, if a guy will give you Kyler Murray, even though ETN is higher, in which you'd have to draft him higher. You wouldn't draft him higher than Kyler in a Superflex league. I guarantee you in a Superflex league, Kyler Murray's coming off in the second round in a lot of Superflex leagues just because of his high upside. So yeah, if somebody's offering you Kyler for ETN, and hey, if you have to throw a next year second round pick, definitely take that. I would definitely pull the trigger on that. I would definitely, because then Kyler, you got another quarterback that's good for the next 6-7 years, and then hey, you have those next rookie drafts. Hey. And Mr. 4-1, these guys can always tune into our draft podcast when we go over the NFL draft, because we'll tell you what quarterbacks are coming up and coming and who you can look for.
Absolutely. And Tyson, we thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you share.
Sharing is caring. That's right.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah. And then one more thing I'm going to go on that we kind of disagree on, and we love to agree to disagree, right, Mr. 411? You have, and hey, I love the gutsy call. You have Jaden Daniels in your top 10. And I know why you have Jaden Daniels in your top 10. Jaden Daniels is a running quarterback. But hey, yes. I'm going to tell you why I don't have, and then I'll throw it to you, Mr. 411. So right now, I got to be devil's advocate for you, Mr. 411. The man plays for the Commanders, all right? Yeah. If people saw what Sam Howell had to do back there last year, the man was running for his life left, right. So yeah, Jane Daniels can scramble. He can get, but I'm telling you, scrambling and running for yards and set runs are two totally different things. Just ask Justin Fields, if you catch my drift. Yeah, I don't like the line. I don't like the support. I mean, yeah, you got Dodson, you got McLaurin. I mean, middle of the road guys, right? They're rebuilding. I like the gutsy call of you doing it because he has the running capability. But Mr. 4-1, the calculator, I'm taking a Brock Purdy over this guy. And Jane Daniels, hey, he's going ahead of Brock Purdy. He's going ahead of Dak Prescott, right? And for good reason. A lot of people like the potential upside. But folks, I'm going to tell you right now, if you get Jane Daniels, you better back him up with a Jordan Love, or back him up with one of those other a Jared Goff, another proven quarterback. That if Jane Daniels, and folks, Jane Daniels, I think he's as old as me, Mr. 4-1. He was him and Bo Nix were in college forever. You know what I'm saying? so he wasn't a model of health through his college career. And people tune in to CTL because we talk a lot about college. And I'm telling you, when Jane Daniels was right, we took LSU in the points when we could. But when he wasn't right, we stayed away from those LSU games. So yeah, Jane Daniels, his health and his situation is why he's not in my top 10.
All right. Well, I'm taking it for that garbage time,
Yeah.
and and,
Yeah.
and so I'm banking on him getting some meaningless, as far as reality goes, garbage time stats.
Yeah,
And I think that's where he's gonna. I think that's where he can help. Yeah, it's one of those risky picks, but
yes.
like you said earlier, you back it up with the love, or back it up with another solid quarterback that probably will end up in the top 10 throughout, when the season unfolds. But if you can stack them, that's kind of like what I was doing with Richardson last year. Tried to have somebody else in the fold, and try to have my high risk, high reward.
Well, and that's what you did it perfectly, Mr. 4-1. If people want to talk about what you did, you actually just in the 4-1 league, they can go and look at the records that they want. You drafted Justin Fields as your starter, and then you drafted high upside Anthony Richardson. And man, you were smiling those first couple weeks, Mr. 4-1, I know, but then it kind of came crashing down with the injury. But that is the situation you shoot for. You get that other quarterback. You get the high upside guy, but it's going to have to be reversed if you do Jane Daniels. You're going to have to reach a little to get Jane Daniels, but then you're going to have to back up. But I see Tua Tagovailoa. He's going later in drafts, so you can pick up a guy that can pass with all those weapons, and he's passing in late back it around. So yeah, if you get Jane Daniels, you have to get a guy to back him up. But hey, high risk, high reward. That's what Mr. 401 does, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Hey, and then speaking of Tua, are we forgetting about this guy?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody forgets about him, and then all he does is go out and passes for 25, 30 points when he gets 2 bombs to Tyreek Hill and a bomb to Jane Daniels. He has 2 touchdowns over 50 yards. So, yeah, Tua. But, hey, he's going a lot of times, he's people's second quarterback for people that are drafting quarterbacks later. They usually draft a Dak Prescott, a Brock Purdy, and then they back him up with Tua Tagovailoa. So, yeah, the guy's got – I mean, the guy has 2 receivers going in the first 3 rounds. So he's got weapons. You know what I'm saying? So somebody's got to throw to those guys.
All right. Okay. And you got anything for us, LT, for, I guess as we wrap up the top 10?
Yeah, let's go back to Tua. Tua doesn't run. All Tua does is throw the ball, but he does have a lot of weapons. And right now he's projected to be out of the top 12. He's projected at 13 and 14.
Yeah.
I would rather take somebody personally that I really like over Tua, which would be Jordan Love.
I knew he was going to say Jordan Love. That's why I mentioned it. I wanted to mention it before LT because LT's got some Jordan Love. Jordan Love will be on LT's team this year, folks. I guarantee you, when we have that draft, LT's going to be saving those bidding bucks so he can get some Jordan Love. he played him last year and did him good. So, I can't complain, So, but yeah, I knew LT was going to bring up some Jordan Love.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Anything else on the top 10 calculator?
No, that's good. And folks, stay tuned for our mock draft, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a mock draft, and LT, we're going to get you to do some picks with us as well. We love our guests to always come in and help us out with this draft. But we're going to try, and we're going to concentrate. And I will point out the quarterbacks. You'll see what I'm talking about, where quarterbacks are going, and what decision you can make when doing our draft.
All right, excellent. All right, let's go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back on the other side.
Oh, and
All
Mr.
right, we're back.
411. Hey, I want to show one of our sponsors. I did get mine sent to me for people that can see. She does a wonderful job. It lights up and stuff. So yeah, she does some great work. So please check our sponsors out. We appreciate it.
That's right. JD Lamps, Home and
Yes, sir.
Decor,
Mm-hmm.
powered by Event Creators of Middle Georgia. All right. So check them out. We would definitely appreciate JD Lamp for all that she does to support the 4-1 Sports World Fantasy Football Show. You saw what Calculator just held up on his hand. And then Larry, I think there's something in your studio, right? Yeah, it's over there right over your shoulder there. Okay.
Absolutely, right there over the shoulder. That would be
Yeah,
the championship trophy.
that's right. We call him Larry the Lamp. With the championship trophy from JD Lamps. And guess what? She also is doing her thing to help with the environment. Look, guys, it's getting hot out here. Tornadoes and hurricanes, and everything is just popping up like crazy because of all the global warmth and how we're just not treating this earth the way we should. But with JD Lamps, look what she does. She takes these bottles. She takes the bottles that people throw away and don't want to use anymore. She said, no. I'm gonna take these Ciroc bottles. I'm gonna take these Hennessy bottles, and I'm gonna change them and make them into something that can be useful. And as you can see, what Calculator was holding and what Larry's using back there, that's her way of giving back to this world, man. Recyclable items that you can purchase and use. And a lot of people have taken advantage of JD Lamps and have purchased great gifts for their families and friends. So make sure you do that as well. Check out JD Lamps.
It's great for or for football fans in general. College, she does it all. So yes, definitely check her out.
Absolutely. All right. We're about to jump. Oh, and guess who's there? Are you talking about me?
Yes, definitely.
We are.
Yes, and we appreciate her tuning in to the show.
Oh, absolutely. She loves the calculator. I mean, she just raised about the calculator. And so thank you, Miss JD. All right, let's jump into our mock draft
Yes, sir.
calculator. Explain.
Producer, if you can talk to the producer, Mr. 41, I
will.
the screen, for this drive. Basically, it's going to be a 12-person league. We use the only thing we don't do is it's PPR. We aren't doing the points per carry that's unique to our listener league, just because we're trying to grab the most generic leagues for people that are going to play. The most generics are tweet people, point per receptions with one quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receiver, 1 flex, which is a wide receiver, tight end, running back, or a tight end, 1 tight end, 1 defense, 1 kicker, and some bench spots. So if you see, I do a randomizer. So when I do the start draft, see. Okay, it goes into a simulator. So as you can see, this is going. We are the number 2 slot. So we have the 2 spot, folks. So this is interesting. And CeeDee Lamb, folks, he is currently the number 1 overall running back in the league. But I'll throw this to LT. I'll give you the first pick. CeeDee Lamb's off the board. Who are you taking with the number 2 pick in our mock draft?
Well, number two. CeeDee Lamb was the first pick, and we're at number 2. I'm taking CMC.
You got to, yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. So I mean, he led all running backs in points. I mean, he was the top scoring fantasy producer, and he stayed healthy all year. Yeah,
Led me to a trophy.
LT rode him, but folks, you ain't get LT got a discount count on last year because a lot of people worried about his injury history. But folks, if you get pigeonholed to injury history, you can miss out on people like CMC. So yes, I have to agree with CMC being the first pick. So, and as you can see, wide receivers flying off the board. Patrick Mahomes was the first
Ooh.
quarterback in the second round. So, folks, I do not advise a quarterback that early in the draft. But hey, the simulator really likes Mahomes, so he is climbing up draft. Well, like I said, recently overtook Jalen Hurts in a lot of drafts I looked at. So Mahomes went. A lot of those running backs went. ETN went. Neighbors went. Wide receiver. We did have one tight end go off the board, and Laporta. So we're on the clock. We have our running back. Again, it's a flex, but what I do is we have what our simulator here is offering us to say, Devon Achane, we talked about him. I don't want to run it back for the mere fact is we got our running back. We got our running back in the first round. We're good to go. I think I usually go to the hero running back philosophy. So I want to concentrate on receiver for the mere fact that you need a receiver. I mean, the one thing is when I'm looking at receiver, it's between Ayuk and Drake London, and I'll tell you and I'll let Mr. 4-1, you're going to have the third pick. We gave LT the first pick. I'm going to get this pick, and then I'm going to throw it to 4-1. So think about your next pick on the 3-2, Mr. 4-1. But my philosophy is between Ayuk and London. If I have them on the board and I'm choosing between the two, I'm going with Drake London for the mere fact. You got Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins shows he can support an alpha receiver. I like the offensive line. They are a consensus top 5 offensive line that would give Kirk Cousins time to throw. I really like Drake London. Arthur Smith is out of there, so you don't have to worry about what that play calling he does. Big things for Drake London this year, in my opinion. I love year 3 receivers, so I'm taking Drake London with this pick just because I want the wide receiver. I already got a running back, don't need Achane, and I like Drake London. And it's still too early for a quarterback, in my opinion. So I'm taking Drake London with this pick. And as you can see, I think it was a good call, Mr. 4-1, because the number 2, the guy right behind us went wide receiver. So we wanted to get that wide receiver because we knew wide receiver, in my opinion, he probably would have went Nico Collins, Drake London, and then we would have left with IU, who I'm not comfortable with drafting. So I feel good in that pick. All right, Mr. 4-1, you're up. We still need a quarterback, still need, their tight ends are still on the board. We have pretty much our pick from tight ends. It's a long pick before we pick again. So that, keep that in mind. We can stick at the wide receiver. We can stick running backs. There's still running backs available. Do you have any preference you're looking at, Mr. 4-1?
Well, I'm seeing Josh Allen just staring at me right now. And he's staring at me, calculator.
So do you feel comfortable spending a 3rd round pick on a quarterback?
If his name is Josh Allen.
Okay.
Because he produces so much offense.
I got you. So we're not going to wait on quarterback, Mr. 4-1, right? You saying you're going to get your man because he's not coming back around. We've decided that based on the early pick, we know Josh Allen isn't coming around. So hey, Mr. 4-1 said, let's go and get our anchor, our guy. He's pretty much 20 points a game. So we will go Josh Allen to anchor our team. And I can see Lamar Jackson off the board, CJ Stroud off the board, Jalen Hurts. So see, if we wanted a quarterback, we had to get a quarterback because Josh Allen wasn't coming back. So that's why Mr. 4-1 said, let's go and get our guys. He has faith. So Mr. LT, I'm coming back to you. Mr. LT, we have a quarterback. We have pretty much one of every receivers. We still got some top tight ends on the board. We still need wide receivers in there. Running backs. I personally, I'm picking next. So whatever you go with, I'll pick up the slack. So Mr. LT, where are you looking at?
I do like the wide receivers. The wide receivers definitely should be the place to go. I do like in that spot. I like Zay Flowers, Tank Dell if he's healthy. I would personally take Zay Flowers right here.
Okay. Zay Flowers is coming to the floor. Lamar Jackson's top target. Well, besides Edwards. So and look, we drafted him. We drafted him behind ABP. So that was a good pick. You got the thumbs up from the Fantasy Pros experts, LT. So that was a good pick based on where he fell in the draft. So right now, I'm a guy. We'll talk about Jonathan Brooks more on our running back show. He is going up draft boards, but I don't like running backs on bad teams. I don't like running backs that got injured in college at the end of the year. So I don't like quarterbacks running behind a bottom third offensive line. So Jonathan Brooks at this spot, I don't want him as my RB2. I think I can get better value later on in the draft. So I'm going to put the pressure on Mr. 401 later in the draft to get his next pick, possibly go running back. I want a tight end now because okay, I'm going to, and we'll talk about this in our tight end show. Kyle Pitts. Yes, I got Drake London. I know. That's the reason I can't take Kyle Pitts. If I'd have Brandon Ayuk, I'd have drafted Kyle Pitts. But for the sake of this, I got to pass it. Even though I have him ranked higher than Evan Ingram, I'm going Evan Ingram. Yes, the Fantasy Pros, people don't like him. Evan Ingram, folks, the guy is one of the top targets for Trevor Lawrence. Nothing has changed in that offensive system. Evan Ingram is going to eat, and I want my top tight end, to be one of the. If you want a top tight end to lead that can possibly lead all tight ends, he needs to be the top target on the league, and he needs to catch touchdowns, and that's what Evan Ingram does. And I don't think he'll come back to me. I think, and I'm definitely not taking T.J. Hawkinson because he won't be back until at least he's going on the PUP list, from what I understand. So yeah, even though he's a stud, I don't like that situation. Kittle. Boomer bust, Pitts. If I didn't have Drake London, I'd take him. So I'm going Evan Ingram and get my tight end while I can. All right. Flowing off Mr. 411. So we don't need a quarterback. We took our onesies position, Mr. 411. So now we can load up on wide receiver. Hey, one of the wide receivers that plays for your favorite team is still available at this spot. So
come on, calculator. So you throwing softballs up here for me. Let's take Jackson Smith right here at receiver. I like him at receiver. Okay, I think he's going to have an excellent season, my man. I think he's going to break out this year. Attention's going to be the Metcalf, and I think Tyler Lockett. The wheels are not going to be moving like they used to. Jackson Smith's going to take over. And I think this is a good spot to take him.
And Mr. 4-1, correct me if I'm wrong, you're a Seahawks fan. Don't you think it was kind of misused last year in that system? So
without question, he was misused. I mean,
this is a guy that excelled playing on the same team as Garrett Wilson and
Harrison
and Olave. I mean, this guy has played with top receivers and was one of the best on his team with these other guys. So the guy's got talent. He also got hurt a little last year. I think he broke his leg in training camp. So that kind of put him back. We could say it was the doghouse, but I think he was miscast. And I think there's a tier break at wide receiver here. So Mr. LT, think about your next pick because you're coming up soon. And I think it's a good pick to pick a wide receiver here because if you see, we have a bunch of running backs that we can take. The guy picking behind us, you got to look at your draft position. You got to look at your board. The guy behind us can only take 2 running backs. So we can get one of these other running backs to fall to us if we pick.
Exactly.
So I think the wide receiver is the pick here. So yeah, I think that's a correct pick, Mr. 41.
And those are the Seahawks fans that are so excited about that pick.
Yep. So, and as I said, the guy behind us did pick 2 running backs, but I think there's still, I mean, if you look, there's still some decent running backs on the board. But hey, this is this is LT's pick. So LT, I'm going to get this. You can stay at receiver. You can stay at wide receiver. I know you got your Jordan Love weapons out there with Jordan Reed's out there, Lad McCockley's out there. But just remind you, we do not have a second running back yet. But do we really need one? Because we do have CMC. So that's another thing. That's the thing about hero running back. You don't need another running back. We can push it again if you want. But if you want to play it safe, we can go running back, or you can pick. The world is your oyster, LT. You can pick any guy you want.
Jaden Reed is right there. I mean, that is a very good idea. But I want to go back to the point. If you want somebody on your team and you have an opportunity to get them, you need to pick them, because they may not make it back to you.
It's a long pick. It's long to our next pick. Yep.
If you have a favorite player and you want him on your team, pick him. Even if you have to reach for him. I'm picking McConkey.
Okay.
Ooh,
and I like that.
Okay.
And let's land this up for people. People say, folks, he is going to be the top receiver for the Chargers. That all my reports, Quentin Johnson still having trouble running the right route, and he's been there 2 years, folks. So that's not good news. Jim Harbaugh likes those speedy receivers that can come down with the ball. And guess what? He's got a pretty good quarterback throwing them the ball. So if you're going to be a high target share, yes, he's a rookie. Yes, he's got these minor bumps and bruises in training camp. But folks, he'll be healthy come time, and he will be the main guy in the Chargers. So hey, a lot of people. Hey, in a draft, you only need one person to like a guy, and LT likes the guy, and all you need is one more, and it's a long time to pick. So I had no problems with Lad McConkey pushing that button. So he's on our. Now you guys put me in a situation where I'm going to have to reach in my running back bag of tricks to see what we come up with. And this is where you can say, hey, calculator, you need a running back. Well, you know what? I don't think the guy behind me is going to draft 2 running backs, because he drafted 2 running backs before. So I think Marshawn Lloyd, I love him. He's got great talent, great upside, young people. Yes, he graduated from USC, but folks, he made his hay in South Carolina playing against SEC defenses. The guy's a stud. He will be my target. He would be my target next thing, but I'm not going to influence Mr. 411's pick at all. There's a lot of other running backs Mr. 411 can go with, but this is my pick. I think a running back's going to come back to us. So that's why I'm passing for running back. I love Amari Cooper. Yes, he ain't gotten in there, but folks, he won a lot of people round 1 of fantasy playoffs with his 50-point performance. The man can catch balls. Deshaun Watson, the quarterback is going to, he does his thing. I like Amari Cooper in this. Hey, you can say that you can never have too many receivers, folks, because look at that. We're loading up on receivers. Well, you know what? I think the best players on the board is still wide receiver. So I'm going to take wide receiver. I'm not going with need right now. I still think we can push running back one more round, because I think all those running backs in there are still available. We'll go to, there's a lot of guys that are still available that are so-sos, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm going to just load up on receiver again. And I think Amari Cooper is the best one on the board at this point. Got the thumbs up from Fantasy Pro. So, Mr. 401, you're on mute, but it is your pick. So, if you want to look at our rosters, we go right here. We got a running back. We got a quarterback. We got wide receivers. So Mr. 401, I'm going to throw this to you. If you can get off mute for a second and tell us your pick, we'd really appreciate it.
Well, just going by what you were saying earlier, and the part of, let me give you a quick story here. Like, think about some of the franchises that win multiple Super Bowls, multiple NBA championships, like the Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers, the San Francisco 49ers of the 80s, the New England Patriots, the 2000s, if you will. And what do, calculator? All the pieces up there in upper management work together. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to work together on this pick. There's something that you like about Marshawn Lloyd. I like something about it. The ML reminds me of a former Seahawk, Marshawn Lynch. And so we're going to go with Lloyd with our pick.
I
and
love that.
we're gonna do this as a team.
And I appreciate you doing that, Mr. 411, because I was trying to send you subliminal messages, because I love Marshawn Lloyd pick and my pick, but I had a feeling he would come back around. So and as we saw, the guy behind us did take a running back, but he didn't take Marshawn Lloyd. That's right. Yep. Yeah. So Marshawn Lloyd fell this, and I love Marshawn Lloyd, folks. The guy can run. They let Aaron Jones go. They say Marshawn Lloyd could be the heir apparent in that. Yes, Josh Jacobs is there. I understand that. But Green Bay will give guys chances. Heck, they gave A.J. Dillon every chance in the book, and then they still drafted Marshawn Lloyd. So that means I think Marshawn Lloyd's going to get some run. So, yes, we're going with Marshawn Lloyd. So, LT, get ready for your pick because it'll be here before you know it.
And while we're doing that, calculator and LT, what has happened to Austin Eckler?
Austin Eckler fell out of favor. They said he's a year older, but folks, I mean, he just went off the board, so we don't have a chance to get him. The running back run happened in the past 2 rounds, so that's why we had to get a running back when we did. But I mean, I heard that I don't like the situation. I don't like the Washington, situation. So we do have a Washington fan who subscribes to the show, and Dr. Sachs. We'll get his take when we do our running back episodes, and we'll go a little bit more in depth on Austin Eckler and our running back preview.
All right.
All right, LT, this is to you. We have all our receivers. So we're filling out our bench right now. We do only have 2 running backs on the roster. So we could look at running back here. We can go wide receiver again. I'm not into, if we go with a stud tight end, like I think we went with a stud tight end, I don't double up anytime soon. So do you have any preferences, LT?
I would most likely go back to wide receiver.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. And what you're looking at, we got Calvin Ridley. We got Keenan Allen still out there. Hollywood Brown. We talked about him earlier with the Patrick Mahomes situation. Cortland Sutton, Mr. Touchdown from last year. So we have quite a few we can choose from.
I do like Hollywood Brown.
Okay. Hey, it's never a bad thing to have Patrick Mahomes throwing you the ball. And we got another thumbs up. And I'm glad you went there because my pick, I was going running back. So I was a little worried about it, but I'm glad he came back to us. I love Antonio Gibson for the mere fact that he's in all he's got is Ramondre Stevenson really ahead of him. Right. So I mean, that isn't too much to worry about. I like another guy later on down the line, so we'll tackle that again. But right now, I want a guy that can catch the ball. And you want to talk about garbage time? Antonio Gibson could probably get you garbage points, folks. So yes, I really like Antonio Gibson. I think he could get enough carries to where he could be relevant. We just really need him for bye week situations. But if people want to know, when I go back, I'm reflecting on the draft. I'm kind of regretting the tight end pick that we picked early because, folks, Jake Ferguson is still available in the 11th round. I hadn't seen that in a lot of drafts. So, folks, we might go over that in our tight end preview, Mr. 411. We might want to start waiting on tight ends as we do more and more of these mock drafts. That's why we do mock drafts, so we can trial and error when nothing's on the line. But right now, we need another running back for at depth at anything. So I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson. So get ready, Mr. 411, because you're going to be on the clock next. And as you can see, wide receivers are flying off the board. So that was a good call by LT getting one of the higher running backs or wide receivers at the time on the thing. So as you can see, hey, Bucky Irvin, Damien, we still got some running backs in there that available, Mr. 4-1. But hey, we still got some decent wide receivers out there. Dontavius Wicks. We always talk about Jordan Love thing. He came on at the end of the year. Joshua Palmer. We already have McConkey, so we don't need another wide receiver for the Chargers. But again, this is Mr. 4-1's pick. So, Mr. 4-1, do you have a preference in your pick?
Well, go back to the running back position. What are we looking like again?
You
at
got
running
Bucky
back?
Irvin. He's Rashad White's backup, but he's a young, dynamic running back. Estime,
Yeah.
he's actually been getting some first team reps, folks, in the Denver. Javonte Williams doesn't look like he's all the way back from his thing, so he would be a strict thing. Damian Pierce, as we know, he's going to be the backup in Houston. Houston's going to score like, but folks, we still got Rico Dowdle out there. He plays for the Dallas Cowboys. He got some run last year, so he's at the. But Mr. 41, another guy we might want to think about. We might want to protect our early investing. Elijah Mitchell, CMC's backup. We might want to get our handcuff and solidify that San Francisco backfield at this point. So I'm
Well,
just throwing that out there.
well, he usually has explosive games whenever we don't have CMC.
Yeah.
Can you pull up our roster again and let me see
Yes,
our running back position?
absolutely. Our running backs, we got Christian McCaffrey, Marshawn Lloyd. We have Antonio Gibson as our only guy. So we only got 3 guys in the back room. So,
Ooh.
yes, running back is kind of a necessary thing.
Yeah, we heard. Okay. Yeah, we need to get another back in there. All right, so let's go back to the board there.
Okay.
Um, let's just go ahead and take a chance with Bucky Irvin. And reason why I'm saying that is, he may by the time we need another back, he may be the one that's
Yeah.
available to us
Rashad
during the
White.
season.
How often is Rashad White going to stay healthy in back-to-back years at the running back position? Right. So hey, if Bucky Irvin steps in and gets the backup thing, let's just hope Elijah Mitchell gets back to us. And he did. So, but it's not my pick. It's LT's pick. So I just threw that out there. that we do have CMC's handcuff still available with us. There's a 47% chance he could come back to us next pick, or hey, we can nail another wide receiver if you want, Mr. Four or LT, because we've got another Jordan Love. Like I said, that Tavius Wicks is out there. We can get a backup quarterback if you want a quarterback. But we got Josh Allen. How often are we going to start a quarterback above him, right? So the world, the oyster is yours.
The oyster is mine. There's a name on that board that I absolutely have to have on every team, and he's on all my teams every year. Go back to the wide receivers.
Oh, is it? I know who it is. I know who it is. It's Tyler Lockett, isn't it?
Yep, it is. Absolutely.
As soon as he said LT has had Tyler Lockett on every team,
20 straight seasons.
Yeah, like I said, you pencil it in. Tyler Lockett's available. I'm going to give them to you. Although LT, be aware, we do have Jackson Smith and the Jigba. So,
we do.
But for LT, he's our guest. We're giving him Tyler Lockett.
And we'll gladly accept another Seahawk.
And please come back to us. Yes. My guest, folks, I was worried. I was planting messages, subliminal messages, and y'all were passing them up. I kept saying Elijah Mitchell was available. He's there. We're getting him. Yep. He's there.
We knew he'll be there.
I did not know he was going to be there. There was a 46% chance he was going to be there, but he made it back to us. So thank you. We can lock up the running backs and get CMC's backup. So now it's to you, Mr. 411. Ariel, I mean, this is our team. Right now, we're just doing bench. We only have one bench spot. We can start getting defenses and kickers, and save that bench spot for later. I mean, because there's still a lot of good position players on there, in my opinion, that might be able to last. Are we, go defense, folks? Don't do kicker early. This there's one thing we do. We don't do kickers early on this show. So, Mr. 401, what's your pick?
All right, let me look at it here. Ooh,
nobody's picked the defense.
It's not going to be a kicker. Okay, it's not going to be a kicker. No one's picked the defense yet. And as much as I like defense, I like being able to do that type of thing. There's multiple ones there that I think we can come back and get that will be effective. Can you go to our tight end position? Do we have a backup tight end?
We don't have a backup tight end.
Okay, so I would like to take the most likely choice right now. If you get where I'm going with that.
Okay.
And
I think that's Mr. 401 is talking about Isaiah Likely. Hey, LT, and Mr. 41, I'm sure you guys have owned Likely, and he'll score that touchdown if Andrews is ever hurt. So yes, and as we got tight ends, Evan Ingram, he's been hurt in the past, so it's always good to have a backup. So we will take Isaiah Likely.
All right.
All right, so now we are down to kicker and defense, LT. So you can have a kicker or you can have a defense.
Now, typically, if I'm drafting, if the Yahoo or ESPN, if they mandate to you that you have to pick a defense or a kicker, I completely understand that. I get that because you have to fill out your roster. But normally, I'm still looking at the best player, wide receiver, tight end, running back. I'm still looking at the best player on the board at that time.
Yeah. Okay, well, we could do that and I'll pick, because we don't have to fill this out. We can pick whatever. So you if you want a wide receiver, we got wide receivers, we got running backs, still out there. Not a lot of big names.
Right, I agree. But in the essence of the draft, go to the defenses. Let's see what we've got.
We got Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, the Browns, the Packers, the Broncos.
And not only the defense, but the special teams part of it too.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah, and I know Kansas City's got some good return guys with the guys they drafted and Mecole Hardman.
They do, but there's also a lot of Georgia Bulldogs on the Eagles.
The Eagles. That's true. And they redid their secondary through the draft as well. So
yes, they did. Well. Their defense only got better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this spot, I would take the Eagles over the Steelers.
Okay.
All right, we love it. Love it. Good pick, LT.
And LT, you brought up a good point. I'm the same thing, so I'm not going to draft a kicker. And we're going to get a bad Fantasy Pros grade, which is fine. But folks, we're trying to give you a suggestion. We do long shots on guys that that are long shots to do something. Folks, our last pick, I'm going to go Curtis Samuel. Hey, somebody's got to replace the target, the vacated targets of Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. All right. And I'm sorry, Dalton Kincaid's not going to get all of them. So I'm going to do a shot in the dark. If I can get Curtis Samuel, see what happens in training camp. If he gets one of his normal injuries, we can drop him and then pick up a kicker. But hey, we might get an injury from another guy that we can drop for a kicker. So hey, I'm just going to get a guy. He's in an offense. We're going to wait. We're going to draft him, see what happens. So I'm going Curtis Samuel right here.
Absolutely, good pick.
Yeah. So and we got a B+. We would have gotten a higher grade because they try to fill out rosters. So I think B+ is good, folks, because we left the kicker. But look at we got Ladd McConkey on the bench, Amari Cooper on the bench, Hollywood Brown on the bench. We are folks. If Zay Flowers or Drake London, if they're any of those busts, we got replacement guys. We are thin at the running back position, but we did that on purpose. We did here. Hey, we got Christian McCaffrey, right? And guess what? Oh yeah, your hero running back. What if your hero running back goes down? Well, guess what? We got Elijah Mitchell that can step in. So we locked up that running back position. And even though LT and Mr. 41 made Calculator sweat on it for him to come back, that is what I recommend. Hey, load up at wide receivers. Because that flex player, we ain't gonna be hurting at flex. We're gonna be rotating. You want to talk about? I was talking to Dr. Sachs earlier, Mr. 41, and he was talking about we were doing some draft talk, and he said he's running the June Jones running gun. He don't need no stinking running back. He's just gonna throw receivers out at you every single week. And and I love this draft. I love the names of guys on. I love our bench. I mean, we just got solid guys everywhere. And then we have a potential we have two guys that can lead at their position. We have Christian McCaffrey, we showed he can lead at running back. We have Josh Allen, who showed he can lead at quarterback. Evan Ingram, I like Evan Ingram. If I would have to do it over again, I'd have gotten another running back probably in that spot and taken a Jake Ferguson later on in the draft. I didn't know Jake Ferguson was going to last until the 11th round. So that's the only takeaway. So next draft, next mock draft, Mr. 4-1, make sure I don't draft a tight end early because so that you can remind me that Jake Ferguson was in the 11th round last in this past mock draft.
All right. Do not draft tight end early.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
But yeah, I definitely like our team, the team we ended up with. But that's why we do this. We employed an early quarterback thing. We got our guy, and I think the draft slot had a lot to do with us drafting that quarterback. If you're an early drafter, if you got that early pick, you're going to have to get to Josh Allen early in the 3rd round because, as we saw in this mock draft, he ain't making it back to you in the end of the 4th round. I know I misspoke earlier I said a lot of them were going in the 4th round. Well, the draft, that's why we do the draft simulator to see if things change. Well, folks, quarterbacks are going in the 3rd round again. Right. So 3rd, 4th round. So if you're out in early draft position, if you want that Josh Allen, you're going to have to spend the draft capital to get him. But hey, we showed we recovered and we started just loading up receivers.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Appreciate it. The mock draft, favorite part of the show. LT, we thank you for being in here.
Yes,
The
thanks for the
returning,
champ show. That's right.
the reigning, defending, undisputed 401 Sports World Fantasy Football
and
League
folks,
2023
the
champion.
man did it from the 6th spot. He snuck in there. He was in the playoffs before the playoffs started. He had to win his last 2 games of the season to get in, and all he did was just roll off win after win and got in. And that's why those high points helped him too. You got to get those points. Even if you lose, try and get as many points as possible because that's going to help you in tiebreaker situation. LT showed, hey, he started his running. He got hot, and then he beat everybody.
All right. We'd like to thank everybody who tuned in today. We thank JD Grant. We thank Heavenly Spa Mobile. We thank PT with Grid, Ashen Smoke Cigars, all our sponsors. Surge TV.
Yes,
we thank them. We thank Tyson Carter, for his comment.
We love questions and comments.
We love it.
Get Kyler Murray in that Dynasty Superflex and you'll thank me later.
And there it is. All right. Well, for LT, I'm Mr. 401. And for the calculator, we thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you all next Monday with another episode.
Absolutely. See you later.
Take care.
Take care.